I'm sorry, I'm still clapping over here.
We're live.
Hello, and welcome back. It is Friday night,
Mm-hmm.
and we are doing book chats with Mostly Books. I'm Jody,
I'm Jen.
and we have a special guest with us, who is...
I'm Natasha.
We're very excited. She's here to join us on our last 2020 book chat.
Yeah.
So welcome. Tonight we are discussing The Companion by Katie Alender. Sometimes I don't get those names right, people.
Edgar Allan Poe.
The one time.
I'm never letting that go for future reference.
Right. So Jen's going to give us a synopsis.
Yeah, so Margot and her family were in a car wreck, and her mother, father, and two younger sisters died, and she has been in like a group home for 6 weeks-ish. And then she gets adopted by this mysterious rich family who live in the middle of nowhere in a giant house. And she's like, okay, cool. And then she's told she's meant to be the companion for their very ill daughter, Agatha, who's about her age. And it just goes weird from there.
I think that's fair.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
Without saying too much else.
Yeah.
Cool. Okay.
And I'm like, I can keep going, but it's going to get into spoilers. So
yeah.
not yet.
I'd say let's hold off on that.
Mm-hmm.
So, Jen, since you were speaking, what did you think of this book?
It's a book. I was not surprised by anything in this book, like good or bad.
Yeah.
So it just kind of I kept reading it along, and I'm thinking, like, oh, something's gonna happen, and it didn't.
All right. And Natasha?
Yeah.
I thought it was entertaining. I don't typically read YA, so it was a different pace that I had to adjust to. But I thought it was good. There were things I liked about it.
I thought it read really easily.
Yeah.
So I read it really quickly and was like, okay, that was an okay story, but I don't know, I didn't have overly high expectations, and
No, I didn't
there were
either.
parts where I was like really not thinking too hard about some of it, and so maybe that's how you go into this, as it's an escape read.
Yeah, totally an escape
yeah.
read.
It's
Real easy to read.
Real easy to read. It's not a diverse read or anything like that. It's contemporary, which we initially thought it was Victorian.
Oh, look at that
Did?
cover.
I never thought that.
I thought the cover was like, I'm like, oh, that's an old spoon. That's kind of like, these are sewing pins. Like, not many people sew in
I
the modern
totally
age.
think I had
spoon.
this spoon when I was growing
I think
up.
everybody had this spoon growing up.
I also thought that, and you know, to the credit of that, Laura, the main mom or whatever. There's not more
The
moms.
main mom.
It's
The
just
mom.
the mom.
Yeah.
Had a lot of Victorian morals.
She did.
Felt like it was a whole
And
other
but
world.
it came down from generation to generation.
Mhm.
Yeah, I mean, they were isolated, like, you know, Victorian style, and like a.
Yeah, it's like this
More.
country manor house in Illinois.
I didn't
'Cause
know
he's
what.
close to Chicago.
Oh yeah,
Yeah, he's got to be. Yeah.
Right? I was like,
somewhere
where
in that
is
area,
this?
depending how close they call close. But they did go to Chicago quite often.
But when they
Yeah.
went, they stayed. So it was like a trek.
He either
Except they-
went or he.
So
or
one
he's
time
dead.
they
Yeah.
came back.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I felt like it could feel a little old, I guess, is all I was getting at. But yes, it was very much
Yeah, 'cause
contemporary
they
time.
don't have Wi-Fi or TV,
Mm-hmm.
things like that. So
And again, the upbringing attitudes
Yeah.
were very old school. Let's talk writing.
Writing? Yeah.
What'd you think of the writing?
It reads really easily.
Mm-hmm.
yeah,
Like-
it flowed well.
Mm-hmm.
And like how the book is formatted, there's a lot of white space on each page, and there's page breaks within the chapters. So it reads very quickly and like very easily. You don't really have to think about it. But even if you are thinking about it a little bit, it's just like, come on, Margot. Anyway.
Yeah. Oh, well, go ahead. Did you have anything else you want to add to the writing?
Nope.
I thought it was very readable. I thought the dialogue was appropriate. Like, sometimes dialogue can get kind of forced. I
Yeah.
don't know why that irritates me in contemporary books, but it can. So I didn't really feel like that. I don't know if the characters were overly developed, but they were fine for what I was reading, if that makes sense. I don't know if they all grew and learned something. I think a couple of them did.
Yeah.
I'm not convinced one of them did, which may not be the one you're thinking.
Or in the writing, there's two moments where there's like parenthetical phrases of she's like thinking something but saying something different, or like editing her speech, but it felt retrospective, and the book's written in past tense. So I was like, what does this mean? I thought it was weird.
That's
but it only
fair.
happened twice. So
Yeah.
Yeah.
Characters. What do we think of Margot?
it took her 400 pages to realize her tea
Is something.
There's something up with this tea that Laura brings her every night and watches her drink.
Yeah.
Good save. Did you like her, Margot?
I did. I felt like at the beginning it seemed like something was missing, because the way it starts right with her tragedy, and I feel like we didn't know her. But what I liked about through like the whole book is we get to know her as she's getting to know herself again as well. So I liked getting to see that progression through the whole book.
I also enjoyed how she kept being like, I don't know who I am, I need to figure that out again, because I think you would feel that way with all of the tragedy.
That's why it was like, we didn't know her in the beginning, and she didn't know herself either. So I kind of liked seeing that.
I don't think she figured anything out, though.
I think she's on her way now.
I think she's on her way, though. She's got a better path now.
Or at least a new path. I thought it was interesting she called herself a mean girl, and I never, ever thought that.
Well,
now,
she said she used to be
but that was her
mean
old
girl.
person. Yeah, exactly. And so it's interesting, because I kind of thought that might carry over with the relationships within the family, this new family. Like, I kind of thought that cattiness might, but, like, not always, because I know you're trying to, like, win him over. But, like, you'd think it'd peak out a little bit if you were truly a hardcore mean girl, I guess. Like, you can't deny your true self completely.
But I feel like she knew that's what she had done that she didn't like, so she was going to try to steer clear of that.
I just feel like it'd
like
still
that.
pop out.
And there were times when she would say, in my old life, I would have done blah, blah, blah. But
that's true.
I'm not going to do that this time.
That's true. She did do that. I just feel like it still would have just a little bit seeped out.
You just wanted it to.
Well, I just feel like if you were really a mean girl, it's still there a little bit. It's not like it's going to be a total switch of a flip. Flip
Flip of a switch.
That's the say. Welcome to Friday nights. For the most part, I liked Margot. I think she was in denial, and that's why it took her so long.
I do too. I think she really thought Laura liked her.
Yeah,
and she wouldn't hurt her.
I thought that too. That's like her trauma, that she wants someone to look after her, so she'll like kind of gloms on to Laura. But even after she figures out that there's something like weird going on, she seems a little like, oh no, but Laura's
she's not sure who she should believe. If she should
like
believe Laura or the weird things she's read.
Maybe do spoilers.
Oh yeah. So something weird happens.
So because it seems we can't contain, we're gonna say spoilers from here tonight.
Hard to talk about it without.
I mean, there are.
Yeah.
Okay.
Unless you have anything generically you would like to say before we move forward. Otherwise, we'll just go.
You can guess the end pretty quickly.
I don't know if that was generically said, but that's fine. Okay, so spoilers, come back and visit us when you've read the book, because you know we're going to spoil and ruin it all for you. Okay, now you can continue. We've given them a moment to turn it off. Okay, so I'm sorry to interrupt. What were we discussing about Laura? And you were saying something about believing.
I was saying that, Margot wasn't sure if she should believe what Laura says or the weird things she read when she searched the house and found the journal of her sister. She wasn't sure if it was just she was crazy and writing it down and everything Laura said was true.
Right.
Or if it was the opposite.
I feel we should give a little bit of background on this. Do you want to, Jen, tell us about Lily and...
About the family?
Okay,
so... start with Agatha. So Agatha's been ill for a few months or a year.
Just under a year, I think.
Yeah, just under a year. So it was that she had cut her foot on a dock and got some sort of bacterial infection, some kind of brain fever. And then Margot comes to take care of her like a year later. She's exploring like the green wing of the house.
The forbidden green wing.
The forbidden green wing that's locked, but you can
We're
push the
trying to
door
keep
open.
that isolated for, you know, the AC and the heat.
And
we don't want
right.
to use the
Yeah.
electricity there.
And so Agatha doesn't get lost or whatever.
Right.
So Margot goes exploring in like the middle of the night a couple
Mhm.
times,
Yes.
and she finds this slip of paper and it has Lily Copeland written on it. And she's like, "Well, who's Lily? I've never heard of a Lily." And then other stuff happens in the book. Agatha drags her back there in the middle of the night on a different night. And she finds a little velvet bag, and inside the bag are a key, a vial of some mysterious clear liquid, and then a folded, like, origami dollar bill folded into some sort of shape.
Sort of money.
She doesn't
Yeah.
say how much, but it's money.
Yeah, and it's folded into some sort of shape. We're going to come back to that. And then she also finds other things in his room. She finds, like, a portrait of Laura and Lily, because they're sisters, and their father. But in the official portrait downstairs, Lily's not in it.
Laura does say she's an only child.
Yes.
Yeah.
But she says
Did anyone
it-
buy that when she said it? I didn't.
No.
Yeah, and it's like, Margot's like, okay, that sounded weird. Moving on. Should I keep going?
Maybe just a little bit. That way we can just dive in.
Okay, so the key Margot ends up finding out leads into the family cemetery in the backyard, because who doesn't have one of those?
That none of the kids
That
know
the kids
about.
didn't even know about it
Mhm.
though. So
They didn't know about it. It's Laura's
Family cemetery.
family
Yeah.
cemetery.
Doesn't
Yeah.
even mention if John knows about it.
We'll come back to John.
We'll come back to John. He's Laura's husband, by the way.
Yeah.
So Margot goes and finds in the cemetery, she finds Lily's grave. Because then she finds her obituary somewhere.
Yeah, that was also
Yeah.
in that room, I think. It was in that wardrobe that she
Okay,
ends
that's
up
what
getting
it
into
was.
eventually after
Uh-huh.
that first time.
Yeah.
And yeah.
Yeah, so she finds out, like, Lily died when she was, like, 17. So she finds Lily's grave, but it's separate from all the other family graves. And, like, out of the way, you could miss it easily. And then she starts investigating.
Yeah. And Laura is very much into, like, doesn't even want to talk about Lily, never brings her up directly. The kids, you know, Agatha and Barrett, the son, don't even know she exists. It's all very shady. And there's something about, I feel like we should also mention that Agatha's kind of, like, catatonic. Did you say that already?
I said she's
No,
very ill.
She's ill.
So she's present but not present, and which is why she's up and moving
She
and
can't
showing.
really talk, and
Yeah.
But she seems to
needs
move
help to
slowly.
move around. Really, yeah.
Mhm.
Except when she gets out of bed and drags
Yeah.
Margot around.
And it's all very, like, she shows up when, like, the first night Margot's there, like, just standing in the dark, like, you know, the dark
Yeah.
doorway, all
Mhm.
creepily, like, I don't know, I just envisioned this very, like, white nightgown, standing in this dark
Very
space.
creepy.
Very
It's
creepy.
another woman in white.
I know, right? Not to say she actually was wearing white, that was just what I envisioned.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, okay, what do we want to dive into first? Do we want to talk about Agatha and Margot? Do you want to talk more about Laura? Do you want to talk about Barrett? Which part do you want to spoil forever first?
Well, there's nothing to spoil with Barrett. He's just a clueless teenage boy.
Well, and he's clueless because he's away at school,
All
Yeah.
the time.
Yeah.
Okay.
and he doesn't like being home either. No
I-
one really likes being there,
Well, they can't
except Laura.
Yeah, they can't do anything. They have no Wi-Fi. They're very, like,
Right. She's like,
structured.
John is
she's
never
so-
there. The husband always works in town.
Right. And they were going to get a divorce, except that Agatha
And
got
then
sick.
Agatha got sick, so they couldn't.
Got sick.
Which a divorce would have looked really bad in the family anyways.
Oh my god, scandal, right? And okay, first off, before we go into Barrett, because I have a comment about him, I wanted to say, how would you feel coming into a family and having to be forced to be a companion? Like, initially, when they reach out to Margot, it's like, we want you to come stay with us because, you know, John and your dad went to college together and John saved him when he was, like, drowning. We
His
owe
dad
this
saved John.
debt. Yeah,
Her
sorry.
dad
Yeah.
saved
Yeah, I had that
John,
backwards.
yeah.
Sorry,
So
John.
they owed her
So John
family.
owed the
Yeah.
family, yeah. And then you get there, and they're like, oh, no. We just want you as a companion. You don't even get your own bedroom, really. You're going to be put into this nanny room.
Off the nursery.
Off the nursery.
The nursery, which is
where-
where they moved Agatha, which is weird that she couldn't be in her own room.
room.
She
And
moved into
they're
the
like,
nursery.
I don't know. I was just like, oh, man, that sucks. Like, I was like stunned she didn't get her own room. I don't know why that floored me. It's this huge mansion. They have wings, and you aren't even gonna give her her own room.
Oh, that's
but then when Margot starts to like really take an interest in Agatha, then they're like, "Oh, you're too close now. We don't want you to nurse all the time." Well, then why did you put her in that room?
But at that point, I feel like it was already more than just an interest. It was she was realizing something was wrong.
Yes.
And they were like, all right, let's separate her now.
Well, yes.
She's picking up on what's going on, yeah.
100%. But my point, I guess, is why didn't you think that would happen?
Right.
Why would you want them so close to begin with and then freak out
Right,
when...
because at first she was even going to make her share the nursery with her, and then instead give her the nanny room, and she was like,
And was kind of offended, I think, when Margot was like, I'm going to take that tiny, tiny room.
I know, I'd rather have my own room where I can shut my door.
That's what well, the only reason they brought her to begin with was because John was threatening to send Agatha to an institution, which she would miraculously get better without Mom there.
Yep. And then with a companion, she could stay there and get her meds.
And Laura
the
could have
gives,
another Albright.
And the meds are what keep her catatonic.
Yeah, the meds. Which is also why they had no nurses, because you know those nurses caught on.
Right.
So needless to say, Mom is drugging everyone in the house.
just Agatha and Margot.
Just
really.
the teenage girls, because that's what they're teaching them. Is teenage girls are crazy.
Yes, just
teenage girls need to be on lockdown.
Teenage girls who can't control their wiles.
Like every teenage girl ever.
Every guy too.
Every guy, I know. Every teenage boy.
Ridiculous that Barrett was allowed this freedom, but you know how that whole patriarchy goes. So we're not even going to go into that.
Well, the book doesn't go into it.
The book does not. It glosses right over
Which
all
was,
that.
Like, kind of like an annoyance for me, because you get this whole doctrine from the family about like moral rectitude and whatever, and Margot has these moments of like, that's weird and not true, and it doesn't unpack any of it more than that.
Right.
No, this very, very much glosses over all of that, all of the religious implications of their upbringing.
It could have been interesting.
It could have dove into a lot more of that. Okay, so my comment in regards to that, it kind of goes back to the Barrett thing, and that I was going to say was that I felt like the Barrett-Margot relationship didn't need to be in this book.
It didn't need to be
it felt
weird.
I liked it.
Did
I
you?
thought I liked their connection because I felt like they only were that way because they were so lonely and both wanting Laura's approval so bad they connected on that. In that aspect.
Didn't mind
So
that.
I liked seeing that connection. I didn't think they had to be like romantic.
Yeah, I just wanted them to be buds.
I liked seeing that connection of they were both just really lonely and they both really wanted her approval so bad.
Yeah, I just think I had hoped they would just stay more buds and not do this whole romance and then go back to focusing more on
I didn't care about the romance.
The creepy ass. I thought there was too much time spent on that. We could have cut that out and spent more time on the creepiness of this house or like the patriarchy systems or any of the things that they were hinting at, but then didn't address.
Yeah.
That was my gripe. Well, I had another one too, but we won't get to that one yet. See,
I felt like that at the beginning, and then I was like, it's a YA, which is horrible to say.
It is horrible to say.
The genre doesn't really do that.
Because I have read some really great YAs.
Right, where they
but I
did
did go from reading Elisa Jewell into this, and that one I feel like gets a little more depth than I felt like this one had.
This one did not.
This one.
But I don't think we should say that's a YA thing. I think that's just a this thing.
Yeah. So that's what I said to myself in my head.
Okay, that's okay. That's truly valid. But I would like to go also on record saying.
Yeah, I know. I've read really great YAs that were very deep.
Okay.
I have.
Okay, I lost a train of thought on where I was headed after the drug.
Like,
no, it was me.
This one just could have like fleshed out like the family's like ideology more. Because there's this whole, like, kind of a minor thread about, like, the fall of man and Eden and Adam and Eve, and you only see that as, like, a motif on a gate.
Yeah.
So, but...
No, I felt like it was only that Loretta, the great-great-grandmother,
the widow,
felt like that. Because even talking, like, Laura's dad didn't feel like that.
But then Laura's like,
was
family
normal,
tradition,
that's why
but, like,
he
what are
liked
these family traditions?
Lily so much. It's because she was normal and... Laura was nutty.
Laura was
Always.
a sociopath.
Yes.
I mean,
Yes.
she killed the cat. That is a red flag.
She killed her sister.
Well, the
And
cat was practiced.
Then
is a
she
red
killed her
flag.
sister. The cat should have told them, though.
Yes.
That they needed to be more proactive on getting her
for
help.
sure.
Well, and there's no
But
other
yes.
sense. She's like, the cat got run over, but then when they buried the cat, nothing grew on its body, and the cat didn't look like roadkill. She poisoned the cat. So I'm like,
She
drowned
drowned it.
the
oh, she
cat.
drowned it?
Yeah,
I thought
she's-
she was practicing for
Says
Lily.
at
No,
one
she
point when
drowned
she's
it.
trying to drown
Oh,
Margot
yeah.
at
Oh,
the
yeah, that
end, the
happened.
cat was so much easier, or
Or
the cat was
felt
harder,
just like you
or
or
something.
something.
Oh,
Yeah,
it's like almost drowning like a baptism for Margot, that she has a new life now.
I think it was more of bringing it back to the car wreck.
Yes.
I think it
Okay.
was just a circular
Yeah, I do too.
thing, not a baptismal thing.
I'm giving it too much credit.
Yeah, I think it was just bringing it back around and her facing that fear of going into the water. Well, which also
Yeah.
gave her closure.
It did. Because
With
there
her-
was things that she couldn't remember, and under the water she was able to
Mhm.
remember them.
So it just finished that chapter.
I liked that part of the book. When she figured out the go, that she was
Was
the one
writing
writing
it.
go on the walls, thinking it wasn't her because she had no idea.
Mhm.
And then she realized, I liked that memory of her mom telling her, go.
Which was
Like,
interesting
save yourself,
that
go. I liked how that tied in.
and
I
then
liked that part.
Agatha picked up on that because she kept telling her to go when she was trying to
Mhm.
talk, and then she wrote those 7 pages of nothing else except go.
Well, I think Agatha might have seen her doing it.
Uh-huh, when-
Because she had to do it at night.
Well, and I also feel like she was telling her to leave too.
Yes,
She
I
knew
think she was warning her the whole
where
time.
this was going to end up.
I think she was
the
warning her the
cost
whole
of-
time.
Hmm?
She was trying to say go.
Ka?
really was
She
go.
was really trying to say
Oh.
go, but she
Yeah.
couldn't talk.
Yeah.
So she was just trying to
She's
get
so
the
drugged.
sound out. Yeah.
Yeah.
I was like,
She was
is this
trying
gonna
her
have another
hardest.
moment? Like remember in The Beautiful, where she says
Oh,
Ka, that's go in Korean, and that links to Odette or Celine's backstory. And I
Yeah.
was like, is this gonna happen again?
But no.
I was like, come on, this makes no sense.
No, it does not go that way.
No, it doesn't. I was just like, really? Again?
The only thing going back to the closure with her mom was that I wished it would have addressed, because you only hear once where she tells Barrett the secret that she thought her mom was alive and she didn't save her.
Mhm.
I wish that would have been addressed more in the beginning and throughout, so we could see that that's why, on top of the trauma of losing her family, she was
The
so
nightmares and
guilt
stuff.
stricken. Yeah. I kind of felt like that was just thrown together towards the end, and I really liked that moment, but I wish they would have talked more about the trauma, I think,
Right.
of that. Yeah.
At the end, it's like, oh, by the way, survivor's guilt.
Yeah. So there were so many things that I think it was almost too much put into this book, and she would maybe just needed to edit out a little bit and then really expand on the things she kept.
Yeah.
Like the spooky part. But that's just my opinion.
Yeah.
It wasn't spooky.
No, it
No.
wasn't. That's
It
the
could
problem.
have been, yeah, but I didn't go into it thinking it was gonna be super
I
spooky. So maybe
thought
I
it was
just
going to
didn't
be
have this.
creepy, like a house manner creepy. You know, houses can be so creepy.
Oh, it says gothic.
And she lost time at the
Yeah.
Which
beginning.
never
and I was,
happens again.
Yeah, she was just being drugged.
Yeah.
So I thought maybe there'd be some. Okay. I knew there was no supernatural in this when I started reading it, but I still wanted it. I don't know why. And I kept looking for it, fully knowing again, this is not going to have it, but still wanting it. That's
Well,
what
they
happens.
almost, because
Yeah.
like Margot one night takes, not Margot, Agatha one night wakes Margot up and drags her into the garden, into
Yes.
the graveyard,
Mhm.
and they're hiding behind a tree watching Lily's grave, where Margot and Barrett have recently planted lilies. And then this like pale ghostly shape walks out and then starts writhing around and then tearing up the lilies, and they think it's a ghost for a while. And I was like, wait,
I think
what's going on?
Agatha knew it was Laura. I think Agatha saw her going out there
Yeah.
and watched her from her window,
And-
and then went and got
Margot.
Margot.
Also, we never found. Can we talk about the things that were never addressed again in the plot? Because there's a
Only
bunch.
if we can ask one question really fast.
Yeah.
Why did the lilies grow overnight? That was the only thing that was sort of like, well, that's weird.
I thought it was because there's a body buried under there, so there's extra nutrients that the plants will grow faster. Still, it's too fast.
I was like,
There's no other
No,
explanation.
again. Because remember, it's full of lilies again when she's walking her to the pond.
uh-huh.
So I kind of think they've already been planted before, and she keeps pulling them.
But it was totally not there at all.
It was overnight.
Yeah.
When Margot and Barrett went there weren't any like green things popping up, and
Yeah,
then
that's
suddenly
right. There
they were
wasn't
not only
anything.
popping up, they were
They were
blooming.
everywhere, blooming. Yeah.
That was
Red.
the only part that I was like, ooh, see, we are going to get supernatural. No. You're
Another thing that's not explained in the book.
Yeah.
Okay, what else?
So of the 3 objects Margot finds in the little black bag, the folded dollar money thing
Money.
is never explained.
Mhm.
Yeah, did you know
Um,
what?
No,
Okay.
I just bypass that.
Okay, yeah. I was like, is this her rainy day fund?
Yes, that's what I thought. She just folded it up one night for her. Who cares?
Oh no, I was like, she's
Stuffed it in
making
her bag.
her getaway fund because like the liquid, isn't that the lemon stuff that makes her
That
be
makes
able
her
to
throw
talk?
up.
And she just
And makes her
drinks
throw up all her stuff.
And then she
For
can
drugs.
kind of
It's
come
an
back.
emetic.
Yeah.
So I thought maybe it was her getaway bag, this tiny little bag.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh! So you just drink this random
Well, it
clear
was probably
liquid?
her initial plan as her getaway bag of I'll drink the liquid, have the key, and then I'll have a little bit of money, and I can run through the cemetery and nobody will know.
Because she could have went to her friend Kylie.
Yes, but then she got drugged too much and couldn't escape.
Yeah.
I thought it was whatever Laura was dosing her with, that she'd have proof, like, this is what my mother dosed me with. And then when
Oh.
Margot drank it, I was like, don't drink that.
And I was like, she better drink it. I was surprised it took her that long to drink it.
See-
But it did take her a long time to figure out the tea thing.
Oh my gosh.
Don't just
Okay.
go drinking strange unmarked liquids.
Thank you. I was
That I would have been like, why hasn't she tasted this yet? Like,
Oh my
I would have tried to figure out what that
The
liquid
vial?
was. Yes.
I would not. I would have been like, is this rat poisoning?
There's too many
Like,
dangerous
the
things
whole
that
thing,
look-
but
No.
maybe try to figure out what it is. Taste it, see what's gross.
Don't taste
So bring Tasha with you. She can be your taster.
Don't let Tasha in a chemistry lab where everything is
Yeah.
clear liquids
I
and
love
white
it.
solids.
Okay, the tea thing though really floored me. Like the first
400
day.
pages.
Why would you drink the tea? Like you. Okay.
Well, I know why
especially-
she did it in the beginning. She wanted to have that, like, time with Laura in the
Mhm.
beginning.
But you
But
were.
then I don't know why she. I
Kept
feel
doing
like,
it.
yeah, when
Yeah.
she realized she actually had a nightmare one night on the night she didn't drink
Yes,
her tea.
thank you.
I thought then she'd wake up and be like, oh my god, I didn't drink my tea and I
Yeah.
slept the way I used to sleep.
Yes.
But she didn't. She finished her tea.
And then there's
She-
another day that she doesn't drink the tea and it like evaporates and the mug
And the
smells
weird-
terrible.
Well,
Yes.
that's when she knows, though.
Or
That's
did she
when
know
she figured it out.
She figured it out till
Because
page 400.
She smelled her cup when it evaporated.
And it was weird.
And it smelled bad. And so that's when she knew not to drink her tea anymore.
But yeah, I was like, okay, you notoriously have nightmares every night where you wake up screaming so much so that your
And
friends'
now it's
little
not
sisters
happening.
are now in therapy.
Yeah.
And it's just
Yes.
magically gone because you've gone to the countryside where you have no internet.
Yeah.
It was that internet that was doing it, guys. Not the tea.
Well, she did deal with a lot of trauma. I feel like that was probably the last thing she thought about was, why am I sleeping?
Really?
Yeah.
I would have been
Because
like,
like
she
nothing
also
else to think
napped a lot.
she did nap a lot.
She napped a lot. So she probably still thought she might not have been sleeping great. She just wasn't screaming anymore. Because
Or
she was still
she
tired.
was screaming but sleeping through it. I don't know.
She was, well, because when she did scream, she woke up
I
and
know,
was
yeah.
screaming.
Yeah. Okay. So Agatha at one point gives her a box of shoes.
I would have
Random
opened
one.
that right away.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Like,
That
why
bothered me.
would you not
And she's
open
like,
that?
oh, thanks for giving me fancy shoes. I'm like, open
She's
the
still
box.
treating
stupid.
Agatha
What
like...
else has she given you? That whole little velvet baggie she
Yeah.
helped you find?
And she's
Open the
clearly
box.
like tried to talk to you and say your name. Like
Yeah.
she's really been trying to, like so much so that she almost like drowned on her own
See,
vomit.
this book is 400 something pages because Margot's the protagonist and not Agatha.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. But and what was in the phone? The
The
cell
phone.
phone.
With the
cell
charger,
phone with
like-
the name for Kylie.
Yes, which ended up saving them.
Which has been a
Yes.
year. When did she charge that phone without Laura nosing? Or did it have like a battery pack? But those things don't last a year.
I wondered that too, actually, about the charging.
Yeah.
But and then I was kind of like, why wouldn't your friend's parents like inquire? I guess Laura was a skilled manipulator.
Sure, yes, I was gonna say I'm sure they all did, and that's why she said, "Here's like her friend knew.
Yeah.
Here's a phone. I've got numbers
Mhm.
programmed in it."
Yeah, I mean, she was a master gaslighter, manipulator.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because she would have had to talk to the school. She would have had to talk to everybody and said something.
Yeah.
I mean, she convinced her husband.
Where was John?
John's just as useless as Barrett.
Yeah.
And
Barrett's
Aubrey.
as useless as
And
John.
every man in this book.
There's only like 6 characters.
John was miserable and Laura was crazy.
I
He
thought
probably
John
knew she
got
wouldn't
killed at
give
one
him a
point.
divorce, so he just figured, stay away. I'll just stay away.
Who cares about those kids?
Right?
Those are my kids. Yeah, I like that Jen thought he was dead at one point.
I thought
'cause
Barrett was dead at one point too.
They were just gone.
Oh, really?
Well, because at the beginning they're like, oh yeah, Barrett, and she's like, wait, who's this? And they're like, oh, he's our son. He's coming home in a few weeks. And I'm like, this boy's dead. He's never coming
You're
back.
gonna get a letter.
Or like they're like, he's in Italy, and I'm like, he's never coming back. He's dead.
Was it more like he's in Italy?
Oh, really?
Yeah, like
I
how
never
Darlington
thought
is in
that.
Spain.
If she talked about him that much, she was coming.
Yeah.
So, and then he showed
I
up,
didn't
and then I
either.
looked at the like jacket flap again. I'm like, oh yeah, he was never dead.
No,
But like, I already knew
yeah.
at that point Laura was shady.
She was
Yeah.
shady. I never thought John was dead. I never thought Barrett was dead. But at the end, in the epilogue, I kept thinking, where's John? Like, did he
Right.
know? Is he totally oblivious
Wouldn't
to
he
his
get in
crazy
trouble
wife? Who's
for
taking
leaving
care of
his
these
wife
kids?
alone with all these meds with the kids? Like,
Yeah.
I figured he had to have gotten in trouble with her.
I don't know.
Like, just not maybe as much trouble because she admitted to killing her sister, and all he can admit
She
to
accidentally
was,
admits to that.
She was
I
drugged.
I left my crazy wife alone with my children. Like,
Right? For
so,
weeks, months on end.
Because Laura's like, oh, he's in Chicago for at least a month. And I'm like, oh, he's dead. Like, she's killed him. She's offed him so he can't, like, come back and, like... That's
He's
one
in
less...
another wing somewhere, drugged, just like everyone else.
That's another loose end. He's taken care of. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, unrelated to what we're saying, but I also thought, stop drinking the orange beverages she's opening for you.
Yeah.
Just
I did
don't
think-
drink or
just
eat or drink
Stop
anything.
eating or drinking anything, but if she feels like she's starving.
No, she was starving at that point, and I get why she really was drinking it because she'd been throwing up for days on end, and
Yeah.
then no food or water was given.
Yeah.
But still, I was like, you know, that has more drugs in it.
Yeah.
So we had thoughts on this, though. I still want to know what happened to John. How did those boys just go off and have normal lives? Both John and Barrett just seemed totally
They're so useless.
so useless.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, Barrett believed his mom. He thought she was nutty, but I think that's as far as he thought it went.
But then at the end, when he knows, he's just off
Right.
at school, being chill.
Yeah.
They all had like no PTSD by the end, even though she had a lot in the beginning.
Like, Agatha and Margot
I feel
had
like
this
Agatha
moment
and
of,
Margot
like,
did. They just stuck together with it.
Yeah, and I don't know, they were pretty chipper.
Yeah, they were chipper around their friend.
Yeah.
But they talked about how they both have nightmares still, and they comfort each other through their nightmares.
Yeah, I
It's
guess
still
that
too much to
part
cram into the
Uh-huh.
epilogue.
It was discussed.
It wants us to take a lot for, credit to believe in the epilogue. And I'm like, I don't know if I
It was just
buy
so
it.
perfectly ended. Everybody was just so happy.
And they sell the house and all that. And I'm like, no, you should have burned that to the ground.
What have we learned? Burn that
No,
sucker.
wait, sell it, get as much money as you can from it.
That's
We
not
will
how
talk
Gothic
about
novels
this
go.
later, but you need to finish a different book. I think this might be our baddest of bad moms.
Yeah. Maniza? City of Brass? She doesn't commit genocide, at least.
I always say that wrong. It's Maniza?
Yeah.
I say Manaze is how I say.
Yeah, it's Maniza in the audiobook.
Maniza. I like that way better.
I told you this, too.
I know, but I couldn't remember. You did. And I was like, what did Jen tell me? Yeah. Okay, you're right. Genocide, way worse than just killing your offspring. And
your sister and a cat.
And a cat. We don't have a lot of really great bars here.
We
Fred.
could have made. I thought Laura could have been worse because I thought she could have been like drugging John and Barrett to make them compliant.
Mm-hmm.
I think she would have if they wouldn't have been, but they were.
But they were.
They
So I
let
was just
her
like,
do what she wanted to do, so she didn't need to. She could send Barrett off to school, and like when he was getting too close with Margot, she sent him away.
yeah, but
Yeah.
she's just.
And just like with John, he can just go work in Chicago.
We don't
Who
really
cares?
care.
He's so busy.
He's such a great star
So
lawyer.
because they both did what she wanted, she didn't have to.
Do we think he's a really bad lawyer then? Because she kept telling like how great he
He's a
was.
Because he has to work that hard.
Yeah, I thought
I
that
don't
was
know.
funny. The lies
no,
she
I
tells
think
herself.
He just, yeah, the lies. She says
that's
to herself.
why he's there. It's
He's
not
so
me.
busy. Yeah.
Yeah.
No, it's because he couldn't stand to be there.
Yeah, right. But she didn't want to face that. Anyway, any last thoughts? I feel like there's other things we could have talked about.
The cover makes no sense.
I thought that too.
Yeah, the cover's weird.
I love the cover, but I didn't understand. I kept thinking like pins were gonna come into it, but they don't.
They don't
At all.
It's like you have to interpret the cover.
But I like
sense.
the
It's like-
cover. It just didn't make sense with the book after I read it.
Yeah, I didn't
Because there's
get
so
it.
many objects in the book that could have made for a cool cover. Like the red lilies would have been a really cool cover.
Yeah.
Even
the red
with the
lilies
little
would've been really
snippet
cool.
here, the lies pile up and then they bury you. What does that? Do they bury you with a tiny little spoon?
That doesn't make any sense. Also, there's
How do
3
I get
different
the
fonts
spoon in
used
the
on the cover,
pins
and
with
that kind
that?
of irritates me too.
There's what?
3 different fonts.
Oh, that doesn't bother me at all.
And then the companion is nicely serifed, and then the pink author's name at the bottom isn't serifed, and it just bothers me.
We do often have a lot of thoughts on fonts.
Well, that's so
Now that
funny.
you've pointed it out, I
That
totally agree, and I'm
doesn't
kind of sad you
bother
told
me.
me.
It doesn't bother me at all. At all.
It did bother me until I was done with the book and I was looking at the cover, being like, "Wait, there's no spoons in
Oh,
this book."
you didn't go about. Oh, you did that last week about the one thing that really bothered you already with the white cover.
Oh yeah, the white hardbound.
But we did that last week, so we covered that. We're good.
Like the spine's pretty because it's like a coppery gold.
The spine's pretty.
I haven't even looked at that.
But
What is
Jen has a
pretty?
lot of thoughts on white
because
hardbacks.
they're just unnecessary.
What do you mean? It's
They're
just a
easily
color.
dirty.
They get dirty
Oh,
easily
well,
and
keep your dust jacket
fingerprints.
on.
But then they get crinkled.
Who cares? Keep your dust jacket on. Put it on your bookshelf. You're done.
So we all
Just pull
have
out when you're gonna
different
Ways
ways
not as picky about
of
the outside
reading.
of my books. Lots of people are. There are some that I'll look at a cover and be like, ugh, who would read that?
Don't judge your book by your cover, but we
I
do.
know.
We're doing it, but
That-
after we read it. It's
Well,
fine.
we did
Yes,
it
we did it
before.
after. I actually liked this cover. That's
I
why
like the cover.
That's why I picked this book to read. I was like, ooh, I like that cover.
I liked
bet
it
it'll be
when
good.
I knew. Yeah, I liked it,
But it
before
doesn't
I-
make sense.
Yeah, before I knew it didn't make sense.
Oh, yours have the pages are all like darkened and smudgy.
Yeah,
yours
was-
are.
Yeah, mine are
chapters.
too, but I didn't know if it was a bad print run or if it was deliberate. So I was going to look.
I was only on the first chapter page.
Yeah.
I thought it was very consistent, but the printers can be very consistently bad. I've seen it, so.
That is hilarious.
I just didn't know if it was deliberate. I wanted to find out.
And you just didn't pick up another book and look this
Nope.
whole time?
I figured I'd look tonight. That's the answer to that. Alrighty, friends. Parting thoughts. Anything else you want to address?
No.
Loved, hate, recommend?
I think this is one of the
I
ones
think
we've
it's a
read that I
good
don't
escape
recommend.
read. I would, if someone wants something light and easy, I'd recommend this one for sure.
Light, easy, with a heavy dosage of sociopath.
Dosage.
Yeah.
Dosage,
Yeah.
And Jen says no.
Yeah, because it's like, even as they're saying, like, this is billed as like gothic and spooky, and
Mhm.
like there's a mystery going on, but we're saying it's like, oh, it's a light escapist read. So
I think that if you're looking for a very, very light gothic read, lighter than Jane Eyre, this might be a good pick. And it was easy to read. Like, I read this story and enjoyed it.
Yeah,
if I didn't
it was
think too
entertaining.
hard about it.
Yeah, it was just entertaining. One of those really
Mhm.
quick ones. Like if you've just like you're trying to do something different to get out of your like genre loop you're stuck in.
A
This
palate cleanser.
Is, yes, this is a good palate cleanser, and then you can get back into what you would normally read.
if you want to practice guessing plot points, you can read this one.
There you go, too. I will say Gillian Flynn did it better.
For sure.
There's another book that did it better.
Yes. We will not talk about that book right now, though. Okay, well, that was our chat. It was exciting
Yeah.
tonight. Thank you so much for coming,
It was
Tasha.
fun.
Thanks for having me.
Maybe she'll consider coming back in January when we come back occasionally.
Maybe occasionally.
We'll see.
Yeah.
We'll see if we can convince her otherwise. So, yeah, needless to say, we will not be here next week. We will be back hopefully in January. We will keep you posted on social media when that is happening. So, yeah, we hope you enjoyed our, 6 months?
It's been a lot.
6, 7 months of this, and
Didn't
thank you
say,
for
like, March or
watching.
April?
done a lot of reading. So we enjoyed that. It was
did.
good. It kept us on track.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah. I guess we'll see you in 2021.
Yeah.
All right. Bye.
Bye.